This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so grammar, page 97 is where we're starting today. Page 97. And this is a review page. So we're not necessarily learning anything new today, just going over some things. Actually, clausal adverbs and clausal adjectives. So that's what we're reviewing today. All right. So when the words when, where, and that begin different types of dependent clauses. So we're going to talk about those clauses that begin with when, where, and that. If it's when or where, when it begins an adverb clause, you use a comma after, not before. So here's your little note to help you remember AC is adverb clause. When it comes first, you need a comma. When it comes after the main clause, you don't need a comma. That's a little rule. And by the way, when it's an adverb clause, oh, here she comes. It modifies the verb just like an adverb does. So the clause modifies the verb. And then when it's an adjective clause, it modifies the noun. So just keep that in mind. Hi, Melina.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
That's okay. I'm glad you're here. How's the babysitting going?
It's going good.
Awesome. That's good. So are the kids behaving for you that you're babysitting
Yeah, they're pretty good most of the time.
most of the time? How many kids are there in the family?
Um, 4, but I only watched 3 of them. So
Oh, okay, but three still, that's a handful.
yeah, I was used to watching like 5 kids, so
Oh, wow.
this is way better.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I bet. And how old are the kids? The three?
I think like I know one's in first grade, and then the younger 2 are like 4 and 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that's definitely, do they have nap time? At least you could put them down for a little nap.
I watch them in the morning, so
Okay.
they get to nap after I leave.
Oh, yeah. So keeping them busy, that's good. That's cool. I'm glad that's going good for you, though.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're on page 97, and we were just talking about clausal adverbs and clausal adjectives. And so you already know that adverbs modify the verb, and then an adjective modifies the noun. So it's the same thing with a clause. If when or where begins an adjective clause, we use commas unless essential. So remember, an essential clause changes the meaning of the sentence. That's how you know it's essential. And a non-essential does not change the meaning of the sentence. If it's essential, then you don't need a comma. That clauses are always essential and never use commas. So that's one rule you can remember. Read each sentence, underline the dependent clause, and identify it. For adjective clauses, circle the noun that the clause describes and then punctuate correctly. All right. So this is something we're going to mark together here. So when you look at the sentence like this one, the king told Dorinda to read stories that she loved to Frederick. So we know this has a that clause because it has that in it. So go ahead and just underline that she loved. And then it is modifying a noun, which is right before it. So we're going to circle stories. And this is an adjective clause because it's modifying that noun, stories. And it is essential because it does change it a little bit. If you take it out and say the king told Dorinda to read stories to Frederick, that's that she loved me. It gives enough detail that it means it's essential. Like you need to have it in there in order to understand what type of stories. I'm going to try my best to explain this. This is kind of hard to explain, but basically that one's essential. So it could be that she hated, it could be stories that she hated. And that's a big difference between stories she hated and stories she loved. So in order to fully understand that sentence, it is essential to the sentence. So essential adjective is what that one is. So we're just going to talk about these and practice these together. I'll do one more, and then I'm going to have you guys help me. The morning when the king issued his command was damp and cold. So we have the word when. We're looking for when, where, or that in these, okay? So when the king issued his command, that is an adjective clause because it's actually modifying morning, telling a little bit more about the morning when the king issued his command. And because it is essential to the sentence, we're going to circle essential adjective, and we don't need a comma. If it's non-essential, that's when you need the comma. Because if you just say the morning was damp and cold, if we took out that little clause, that's completely, it changes it completely when the king issued his command, makes it completely different. Okay, so that's the little trick that you do. All right, let's start with Jasper. See if we can figure out the next one. I'll help you guys, okay?
All right.
So go ahead and read the sentence and then we'll talk about it.
Frederick was concerned when Dorinda took him from the infirmary.
Okay, so looking for when or where, do you see the clause?
Yeah.
So what should we underline here?
When Dorinda took him from the infirmary.
Yeah, that's correct. And what is it modifying? Is it modifying a noun or a verb?
A verb.
You're right, concerned. And we're not going to circle it because the instructions say to circle the noun. So I think we could just put a V above it just so that we can recognize that it is a verb. So the word concerned is a verb. So that makes it an adverb clause. You probably already guessed that one, but the adjective clause definitely modify a noun, and the adverb clause modifies the verb. So good. And that was good. And no comma on that. Let's see. Let me check something really quick. Yeah, so the adverb clause, it's the that clause that you never use commas, but sometimes adverb clauses have commas. Remember up here, if when or where begins an adverb clause, use a comma after, but not before. So if the adverb clause comes first, then you use the comma. If the adverb clause comes second, no comma. So here it's on the second end of the sentence, the second half. So no comma. Okay. These are tricky. I think you're getting them. It's just me trying to explain it. But anyway, Melina, go ahead and read this next one.
Dorinda knew to take him where her father had told her.
Okay. So where's the clause?
Where her father had told her.
Good, yes. And is it modifying a noun or a verb?
I think it's a verb, right?
I agree. And do you know what the verb is? Back here, which one of these is the verb?
Is it just an adverb?
It's this is the adverb, it's the adverb clause, but it modifies take.
Oh, take.
Yeah, because it's telling where they're gonna take him. So you're right though, it is an adverb, that is correct, because it's an adverb clause, basically. And since the adverb clause comes after the main clause, we don't need a comma there. So, okay, good job. And then Jasper, the next one. Are you there, Jasper? Can you hear me? Jasper, can you hear me? I wonder what happened. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
One second.
Oh, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I wonder if he hit mute by accident.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Um, I put a chat. That's weird. I don't know. Can you hear me though, Jasper? I don't think he can hear me. Now he's frozen. You guys having bad internet this morning, Melina?
I don't know. I'm at my house and he's at his.
Oh, okay. I don't know if he can even see anymore. Okay. All right. So I guess it's you and me for now, Melina.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and get through this. Go ahead and read the next one.
They went to the palace library where the imperial collection was kept.
Okay. So the clause, where does that start?
Where the imperial collection was kept.
Yes, correct. And then is that, what word is that modifying? What is it giving more information about?
The palace library.
The library. Yeah. So go ahead and circle library. You're back. What happened, Jasper?
I have no idea.
That was weird. Okay, but you can hear me now,
Yeah.
it sounds like. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one requires this one is a non-essential adjective. So it's modifying a noun, and the noun is library. We got that. But it's non-essential, meaning that it doesn't really change the sentence. So you do need a comma for this one. So go ahead and squeeze a comma in there after library. It doesn't change the meaning. It's just giving a little bit more description of it, but it doesn't change the meaning. Okay, so Jasper, go ahead and read this sentence here. Oh, by the way, it's non-essential right here. Okay, Jasper.
Frederick grimaced when he selected how to rid your garden of pests.
Okay, that's weird. But okay, what's the clause there?
When she selected how, or is it just when she selected, or when she selected how to rid your garden of pests?
Yeah, the whole rest of that sentence.
Okay.
Yep, all the way to the end. And so it's modifying, is it modifying a verb or an adjective?
Adjective? No, verb.
Yeah, verb. And what is the verb?
Grimace.
Good. Yep, you got it. So that is an adverb clause. Good job. And then Melina.
He suggested books that told engaging stories instead.
Okay. What's
That
the clause?
told
Yeah.
engaging stories instead.
Yep, that's right. That. And what is it modifying, a noun or a verb?
I think it's a noun.
Yeah, the noun books, because it's telling more about the books. And that one you never use a comma for, but it is essential because it's giving more detail about the books that told engaging stories instead. So it could be that told boring stories, or it could be, you know, it does change the meaning a little bit. So it is essential. Determining if it's essential or non-essential, that's probably the trickiest part about it. And I think for me, the easiest thing to do is try to, if I changed something about the clause, does it affect the meaning of the sentence? And that's how I check that. So that's a little trick that I do, but that's probably the hardest part about this. So, okay, Jasper, go ahead and read this one.
She found Frog and Toad are friends where the children's books were.
Okay, so the clause,
Where the children's books were.
yes. And does it modify a noun or a verb?
A noun.
Actually, in this one, it's going to modify found, the verb.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's telling where they found it or where she found it. So it is an adverb clause. Okay, Melina.
The Frederick noticed the frog prints on the shelf where fairy tales resided, and then it's where fairy tales resided, and then shelf.
Good. So now, is it essential or non-essential adjective?
Essential.
Yes, good. Because it could be in a different spot, right? Okay, so back to Jasper.
Dorinda read her favorite part where the frog becomes a prince. It's where the frog becomes a prince.
Okay. Is it modifying? Which word is it modifying there?
Favorite?
Actually, it's saying part.
Oh, okay.
So favorite would be like the adjective to part, but yeah, part is the
I didn't know
noun.
if it was gonna pull a, like on the other one where it was found.
Right, yeah,
But
it's a little tricky. Yeah. And then this one is non-essential. So it still is a favorite part, whether it's this part or another part, it still is a favorite part. That's kind of hard to determine, but this one's actually non-essential. And non-essential, hold on. I might be explaining that wrong. Essential, and look at your note here, essential adjectives clauses defines the noun it follows, and non-essential adds information to the sentence. Okay, that's the two differences. So I would definitely circle non-essential and essential over here in your margin. That's going to help you. I think I was defining that a little bit confusing. So I would go with what the book says here. If it's non-essential, if it adds information, and it's essential if it defines the noun. So this is actually a non-essential adjective because it adds information. Okay. And then you got your comma rules over there too. So let's go ahead and turn the page. There's a little bit more on the back of this page on 98. This one's a little bit easier to explain. So this is a direct quote. And, you know, when you get to the point, and I think we will in a couple months get to the point where we're actually using information from a book that's a direct quote. So basically that just means you're taking, like if you're reading an encyclopedia about horses or something like that, and you want to take a direct quote from the actual source and put it in your writing, then there's a way to do that so that it makes sense as you're reading it, as you're reading your report. So a direct quote is an exact copy of another person's written or spoken words. Copy the original source exactly including capitalization, spelling, and punctuation. If you need to change part of the sentence to make it grammatical, then you can put the changed part in square brackets. And you've probably seen that before. Begin and end the direct quote with quotation marks. So in order for it to actually make sense in your report, you would use brackets and add whatever you need to add to help it to make sense. So here's the example from the Frog Prince right here. They're pulling out a direct quote, but instead of just a random quote that starts with she, they're going to put the princess here in brackets because the actual quote says she, but in order for it to make sense, we have to change it to the princess. And then the rest of the quote is there. Okay. So the square brackets alert the reader that the princess was not used in the original. However, the meaning remains the same. Although the word favorite, by the way, that word favorite is spelled differently in modern American English. So it's like old English spelling. The quote must be an exact copy of the original. So anytime you have a direct quote, you're literally copying word for word, and then you're citing, because you know about plagiarism, and we'll be talking about that more as we get into report writing. But you want to make sure if you're doing a direct quote, it has to be exact unless you need clarification like this with brackets. And then there's just a note about how an author changed a little bit and changed the title from the original story. So that's it for that. That's pretty straightforward. Do you guys have any questions about what we reviewed or this page at all? You guys good? Okay. So your homework will be the next 4 pages. And Melina, I wanted to apologize to you too. I already apologized to Jasper, but I am so super sorry. I did not post the homework in time last week. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I completely forgot. I had it on my radar and then it left. So
You're fine.
And I was telling Jasper about my comment a few weeks ago when I was like, you people didn't even tell me. And I was just totally joking. So it's not your job. So I told Jasper I'm going to set an alarm to remind me to post the homework. So anyway. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about a few things before we get into the homework, because I do want to talk about the homework too. I have some new banned words to add to your list. So the banned words list should be that blue page. Hold on, maybe it's not. Hold on. I think it's yellow. It's this page. I don't think you have it out yet. In our next checklist, it's a cream colored page. All right, so let's get these pages out first then. We're going to talk about them in a minute, but go ahead and go to your binder. And you're going to need to go to source text. And go ahead and take out, it says ape and turkey. This is the overview page on page 89. So you need 89, you need 91, 93, 95, 97. Those pages. So that's how many pages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. So 89 to 97. You need to get those out. This page. Oh, I see. Okay. So the adjective page is not in there. I'm trying to remember what color. So do you remember the banned words list? Oh, it's actually page 75. It's an adjective, banned words list adjectives. So it might be at the front of your binder, or if you kept it behind another tab, maybe banned words tab, you might have it back there. but it looks like this. It's a kind of a cream colored one. It's page 75. It might be either at the front or behind banned words tab. And then you don't have to put away the trash one yet. We're going to talk about that too. So you should have all those out still. Okay. You guys have this one, 75. Cream color. It could either be at the very front of your binder or behind banned words.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, good.
I got it.
Okay, good. What do you have on here so far? Do you have anything written on yours yet?
Just good and bad.
Good and bad. Okay, good. Oh, I'm glad we talked about those two. So we're going to add two more. So you probably already have good here and bad here. Now we're going to add nice to the next box here. So let's just brainstorm for a second. What are some, we're going to ban the word nice now. So you're going to have to think of other ways to say that. You have any ideas of what we could do instead of nice? You can just say
Fantastic.
fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, if you're talking about a nice day, that's true. Fantastic. It's a good one.
Caring.
Yep, caring. Could be kind.
Pleasant.
Good. Pleasant has an E, right? I'm having trouble spelling pleasant.
Yes.
And then A-N-T, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Thank you. Pleasant. How about thoughtful? You have any ideas, Melina? If you're talking about like a nice person or
Like peaceful. I don't know.
peaceful, yeah. Maybe even considerate, because we're kind of mixing these up a little, but some of them refer to like a personality, and then some refer to maybe like a noun, or like I'm thinking the day is nice. It's a nice day. It's a peaceful day. So any of those would really work. Sweet. You're talking about like maybe a dog, like a nice dog, a sweet dog. Okay. That's a pretty good list. That's just a very small sample, but you can always go to thesaurus.com to find some others, and you can either add them to this list or just use that resource as you write. The other banned word today is big. So no more using the word big. That's a little easier to define other words for that. So what do you guys think? What list can we put here?
Massive.
Massive, good.
Giant.
Good.
Sizable.
Okay. Sizable. Did I spell that right, Jasper, with an E?
That's how I spelled it.
Sizable. Let me check really quick. Do you know, Melina?
I spelled it without the E, but I'm pretty sure that's incorrect.
Sizable. Oh, it is without the E. So we were wrong, Jasper.
We'll get them next time.
Otherwise, it kind of looked like sizable because EA there.
Yeah.
There we go. This looked funny. Okay. How about humongous? Colossal. Do we already get gigantic? No, gigantic's a good one. And then one more, we'll put ginormous. Oh, we didn't get huge on there. That's a good one too. All right, that's a pretty good list. Again, if you are writing and you don't like any of these, go ahead and just look on thesaurus.com for ideas. Okay, so we're adding to our band list. That's the tricky part when you're writing. So keep that in mind. We're done with that list. There is a tab for banned words. If you want to keep it behind that tab, that way you know where it's at. Otherwise, the front of your binder, I'll let you guys decide where you want to keep it. So we're done with that for now. And I just wanted to give you a little reminder because I know one of the things on your dress up list is strong adjective. And I just wanted to remind you, if you're looking for an adjective to add for your dress up, you can go to your pink list of adjectives. Not adjectives, of adverbs. Let me see if I can find mine. Okay, and this is from 43. So that might be, if you can't find it right now, it's okay, but it should be either in your stylistic techniques tab or at the front of your binder. But these are the adverbs, right? The ly adverbs. And I think I told you this before, but if you're looking for a quality adjective to add to your dress up in your paragraphs, you can take off the ly in this list, and then you've got a quality adjective. So just remember that is a nice list to have here. And just taking off the ly will turn it into an adjective. It's kind of a cool little thing that I learned from the class here. So anyway, quality adjectives can be a little tricky to find. So that's a clue for you. Okay, there's that. Now, your homework. So we're moving into a completely different unit, writing from pictures. So Melina, did you get a chance to watch the video yet or not yet?
I watched the grammar part of it,
Okay,
but I didn't get that far.
that's okay. Okay, so you probably haven't started the homework yet?
No.
Okay, that's okay. I knew that I was late posting it and, we've all been super busy, so don't worry about that. I saw that Jasper turned yours in, and basically, Melina, what we're moving into now is creative writing again, and we're making up stories based on pictures. That's what we're working on now. So
okay.
Yeah, and I meant to have you take this out because you probably don't have it out of your binder yet, but go back to the source text and get out the stuff for ape and turkey. So I know Jasper already got that out because we talked about it last week, but oops, let me show you. 89, it was right before the stuff you just took out. So 89, and then, oh, sorry, just kidding. Not that. You already took that out. The stuff for the trash bag and the pirates, this one, 79, 81, 83, and 87, all the way to 85. So 79 to 85. And this was last week. So you'll want to keep this out too, Melina, since you didn't get a chance to do it yet. Let's see. So we only have 15 minutes and I don't want to give you guys too much. So think for a second here. I'm going to kind of change my mind. I had different plans this morning for you guys, but I feel like I need to slow it down a little bit just so we can give Melina a chance to catch up. And I don't want to introduce something new to you, Melina, and then you've got two things to cover. So let's talk about the homework. And Jasper, would it be okay with you if I pulled up your homework and we look at it together? Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, Melina, just to give you I know you're going to listen to the video, so I'm just going to give you a quick explanation of what you're going to be working on this week. So we've got the keyword outline. This is page 81. And it's nice that they kind of gave you the outline already laid out on this page. So you can use this page for your outline. You don't have to use lined paper. And now we're getting away from, those keywords in a text. And now we're going to pull out keywords from our own heads with what's happening inside these pictures. And the best way to do that, you'll see in the video, is to ask yourself questions like, what is in the bag, or what is he thinking, or how did the bag get here, or who do you think put the bag there, or what is happening in the background of the picture. So when you're making your keyword outline this time, Melina, you're going to actually create like your own story. It's completely from your own head. So the outline rules are still the same as far as 3 words, and then you can use 3 to 4 words, and then you can use symbols, abbreviations, and numbers for free. That stuff stays the same. You'll see on this outline, for next to the Roman numerals, which represents the paragraph, you'll see the word central fact. And that means what you literally see in the picture is the central fact. So you'll put words here like trash bag and boy, and maybe what he's thinking based off of his expression, like, oh no. So then from there, these will be what you make up about what's happening in the picture, what you think the backstory is, what happened before the picture. And you can get kind of super creative with it. This type of writing for me is difficult. And I know I think both of you, Melina and Jasper, are really good at creating. You're creative. You have that creative side to you. So mine's more logical, methodical, mathematical. So my brain works a little differently than yours probably does. So anyway, you can have fun with that. So let me pull up Jasper so you can see what he came up with. I read it this morning and it was fun. So let me get to it really quick here and then I'll pull it up. Okay. Share my screen. Yeah, and you made the title, which is good because in your checklist is growing, as you know. So there are now 6 words, dress-up words, that you need to underline in each paragraph. So that's probably the hardest part, I think. Creating the story is one thing, but then making sure fitting in all those words and the topic clincher for each paragraph. So I do want to point out you did a great job with that, Jasper. And I did notice that you bolded, which is perfect. You can either bold or highlight those. And I did notice that in each paragraph, you actually repeated rather than reflect. And that's okay because that's part of the rules. So that's good. In the future, if you do more of a reflect the words, that means like a synonym for a word, it does give it a little more style. So maybe when we move on to the next story, you can be thinking about, rather than exact word for word, you can reflect. So, Jasper, do you want to read it or should I read it?
You can read it.
Okay. Craig and the Spirit. Just love that it's a spirit. I think that's funny. Okay, I'm going to try not to laugh through this. Okay. So Craig is obviously the boy. So Craig was incredibly confused and curious. How did this get over here? Oh, by the way, Melina, this is from those pictures I just showed you with the trash bag. Okay. All right. It was his super stretch trash bag that he bought at Costco just a few days ago. The large bag had littler bags inside of it. Craig wanted to buy a new couch, but unfortunately, he just spent all of his money on 3 pallets of 5-hour energy. Because he had just spent all that money, he ventured to the forest to make a couch, which was what the huge trash bag was. The reason he was so shocked about being where it was is because he did not leave it there. Craig was truly confused. Could it be alive? He wondered if it was alive and thought it could be some sort of forest spirit. Craig poked it with a stick to see if anything would happen, but it stayed still. He backed up a little while he looked at the bag and threw a water bottle at it, and it stopped. It stood up and yelled at Craig. The spirit, which was furious now, shouted, "Don't you know that littering is terrible for the environment?" Craig's face turned ghostly white because of this. The spirit tackled Craig and they started to brawl. The spirit may be very strong, but Craig is smarter. Craig decided to push the spirit toward the closet. The very alive forest spirit turned out to be a very strong foe. The brawl continued for what felt like hours for Craig. He was slowly making his way towards the closet, but it felt like it was miles away. Both Craig and the spirit were incredibly persistent with their fight. But then Craig, who decided to outsmart the spirit, had an amazing idea. His idea was great, but he needed to get the stick back. Since the stick was across the room still, he needed to get away from the spirit, so he slipped out of its grasp. Because he was so angry at the spirit, he threw it as hard as he could into the closet. The spirit looked scared for the stick, and it leapt in the closet to see if it was okay. Craig then slammed the door on the spirit and sat on the floor to drink his 5-hour. The brawl between Craig and the spirit was over, and Craig felt like nothing happened. Oh my goodness, Jasper, you crack me up. Okay, I was just a tiny confused because I thought that the bag had the couch in it, but then was it a spirit, not a couch after all?
Yeah, he accidentally put it in there with all of the leaves.
Ah, yes. We might need that little bit of extra explanation there.
All right.
Let's see. Because he kind of left off here to make a couch, which was what the huge.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So maybe right there, give a little more explanation about that. But you did a great job with your dress ups. I wanted to point that out. And your topic clincher is good. And I think my note was, I did notice very was used quite a bit in there. So I wonder if maybe you can go back through and change a couple of those just so it's not exactly the same. So I think what I'm going to do for you guys this week is let's let Melina catch up to where we're at, and then you can refine this, okay, Jasper, because I like where you're going with it. And here, I'll leave a little note here so you can remember. Add a little, detail about, I'm just going to put the couch and what is in the bag. Does that make sense to you, Jasper? That part at the beginning? Okay. And then the first paragraph, I think you're missing an adjective. I was looking at that. You have the adverb, unfortunately, you have because, you have which, you have where, you have there's two verbs here, ventured and shocked. Yeah, those are two.
Oh, I think that was my adjective.
Shocked? Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, maybe it is an adjective. Because it's describing how he's feeling. Yeah, maybe that is an adjective. Okay, that'll work. And then I didn't have a chance to check for your banned words, but nothing kind of stood out to me. And then of course you have new banned words, nice and big, but I don't think you used either one of those. But you might want to just double check for banned words.
There was one sentence where I realized that I put one in and I was like, oh man, that was close. That was
that was close. Good. I'm glad you found it. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you.
Oh, it was ventured. I put went. That's what it was.
Ah, good catch. Yes. And I'll double check too, but I didn't see any that stood out to me. And you know the trick, right? To check for banned words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah. So you can kind of just play with that a little bit more and then just change a couple of things in there to kind of tie it all together. I wonder if Craig in the Spirit. Yep. You got it. As far as the title in the last sentence there. Okay. There is one more. Let's see if I want to talk about it this week or last. Okay. I just want to talk to you about one more thing before you go here. Let me share. So we'll give you that time, Melina, to catch up, okay? Now, I did give Jasper the option to either write about it. It's written in the notes for the homework assignment this last week, but the second page has a pirate theme to it. If you see that and you would rather write about that, you can write about that one or this one. I think he picked this one because we kind of already started it together. So this is 81 and that's 83. When you're writing about pictures and you're asking yourself those questions, and by the way, Melina, I still want you to watch the rest of the video from last week, okay? And you're starting out with this top picture here. One of the things that would help your story is to think about what possibly happened before this picture. And in English, you have past tense, which we already know about that. Let's see what time we got. 4 minutes. Let me just have you take some class notes really quick about this. So go ahead, get out a lined piece of paper. I'll make this quick. I do want to talk to you about the tense. And Jasper, you did a great job writing your whole thing in past tense. And that is the easiest way to do it, is write in past tense. Today is February 16th. And you can just call this class notes. Because we're talking about verb tense. So we've got present, right? We know that present, and then I'm going to draw a line here, and we've got past, and then we've got what's called perfect, past perfect. Have you heard that term before, past perfect? And past perfect,
No,
have you heard it before, Melina?
I don't think so.
Past of the past. That's one way to explain it. So kind of like you're talking about the past, but it's before that past. So I'm just going to draw a line here real quick like this, make a little chart for you. So present, we use the be verbs, right? You remember the be verbs are is, am, are. When we use those be verbs, is, am, are, that's current, present tense. When we're talking about past, we use words like was, were, and adding ed to a verb makes it past. You know that. And then there's also those irregular verbs. Remember, the irregular verbs are like sing, sang, sung, where you don't add ed, but they are still past tense. I'm just going to put irregular right here. Irregular verbs. And I'm going to put sing, sang, sung. If you can squeeze it in there. If you need to move down, that's okay. You can move down on your page. Let me zoom in a little. Oh, I guess that's good. All right, I know I'm going kind of quick here, but I just wanted you to see in your head how this works. So here's present tense, past tense, we use ed, and these are the irregular verbs here. But then if we have past of the past or past perfect, we use had and been. So if we're talking about like the trash example, and we're talking about Craig and the spirit. So you could say something like, Craig had been wishing he had a couch for his bedroom, or something like that. So you're thinking when you use had been, that's telling the past. So you're going to use that for that first picture when you're talking about before that picture happens. Okay. So most of the time we write our stories in past tense. That's the easiest way to do it. It's really tricky to try to write a story in present tense. But in that first paragraph, though, just keep in mind, you can use had been to explain what happened before the beginning. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I'm just going to put a note here. I'll just put a little like bullet point. Use hold on. Use to explain before first picture. Just to give yourself a little note there. Use to explain before the first picture. So I do want you both to at least get one of those in there about what had been happening, or maybe he had been wondering, he had been thinking, he had been looking for something before that first picture. Use that in that first paragraph, and you really only need one sentence with that, okay? So try to, and Jasper, I'm going to have you include that in yours as well. Okay. And then just keeping in mind your checklist as you write your story. So if you have any questions between now and then, feel free. And I know Melina texted me, and that was totally fine. I'm totally fine with that. And Jasper, if you have questions, I can give you my cell number too if you need to text me questions. Or you can message me on Google Classroom, and then I can share my number with you if you want to do it that way. So that is pretty much it for this week. We're going to slow it down a little bit, and then we'll move on to the next part that you took out, the ape and the turkey. That's coming next week. So anyway, it's good to see you, Melina, and you too, Jasper. You guys have a good week, and I'll see you next Thursday.
Okay. Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.